Hello everyone, welcome to the Microdesk webinar series. My name is Ravali Rivalapati and I'm the Marketing Manager for the California region. Welcome to today's webinar, The Road to Success, Autodesk BIM Solutions for Roads and Highways. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, the slide's not coming up yet, just one second. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, I'm going to give a little background of who Microdesk is. We're an Autodesk Gold, Oracle, and Google partner. We provide technology training and consulting solutions for the AEC industry. We have 12 offices located throughout the East and West Coast with a brand new addition in beautiful Chicago. We have a staff of over 90 consulting and technical specialists. Presenting today's session is Microdesk Solution Specialist Mario Morales. Here at Microdesk, Mario provides training and software implementation and project mentoring for civil engineering clients. Mario has over 20 years of experience in civil engineering industry. He's a certified Autodesk Civil instructor, and he's been using Autodesk products since 1983. Just a few logistics before we begin. In order to minimize any background distractions, you're all on mute for the duration of the session. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the question area of the webinar toolbar to the right of your screen. Mario will address as many questions as he can at the end of the presentation. If we run out of time, we'll provide you with our contact information so you can follow up with us. And now I'll turn it over to Mario.
Thank you, Ravali, and thanks everybody for attending. I hope everybody had a chance to attend our webinar last week that Reem Asaf was able to put on for the Road and Highway Part 1. And so this is going to be the next one, and we've got some more coming up as well. So what I'm going to do is I would like to touch on and reiterate a few key points that she was able to touch on in the last presentation for those who weren't able to attend. And then from there, we're going to dive into Civil 3D, and we're going to showcase some of the key features and functionality that sets it apart from road and highway other softwares, and to help give you a competitive edge. Autodesk Civil 3D is a one-stop shop for the civil industry, providing tools for planning, analysis, survey, civil engineering, hydrology, and construction documentation. And to show this, we're going to start by demonstrating some of the key survey capabilities, and then we're going to move into criteria-based design to ensure that your design concepts that you create will comply with local and AASHTO design standards. And we'll look at some of the superelevation tools and how to utilize those. And then finally, we're going to go into some of the corridor tools and show how those can be used for highway and interchange design. And then finally after that. So let's first start by recapping a few of the key points on the industry today. Roadway engineer professionals around the world are facing many challenges. Infrastructure is crumbling, and the same network of roads and highways is seeing an increase in traffic. Budget shortfalls are being caused in part due to declining gas tax revenues and rising material costs. The adoption of automated machine guidance is prompting many roadway agencies to consider alternative construction deliverables. With governments around the globe committing unprecedented funds for transportation infrastructure projects to help jumpstart the economy, the challenge in the industry is to make the best use of the funding and to deliver high-quality projects faster and more economical than ever before. Governments around the globe are committing unprecedented amounts, as you can see from the map showing above. This is just a sampling of some of the money that the governments around the globe are investing into infrastructure as part of a strategy to create jobs and recharge the global economy. This massive infusion of funds is set to create an unprecedented amount of civil engineering opportunities in the AEC industry. North America alone is planning on spending a minimum of $104 billion on highway improvements as well as rail and environmental projects. According to the Construction Management Association of America, as much as 30% of money spent on construction is currently wasted in the field due to coordination errors, wasted materials, labor inefficiencies, and other problems. And this creates an opportunity for companies to gain an edge by reevaluating traditional methods in order to improve the overall efficiency of delivering projects. So how do these current issues facing road and highway industry affect your business and your business decisions? Why might these conditions facing the industry lead you to consider a change in your current workflow? Well, let's start looking at some of the critical challenges facing transportation infrastructure business. First off, much of the design can be lost in translation when you transfer data to other applications. Using a one-stop solution such as Civil 3D will help you consolidate your design applications and ease the process of maintaining internal standards. And this will decrease operation costs and exposure to liability. And also, business is becoming increasingly competitive, so there's an increased pressure not only to strengthen relationships with existing customers, but also to acquire new ones. To accomplish this, you need to distinguish your services from the competition to deliver more value. And what better way to leverage model-based design to obtain an unequal responsiveness to design changes and alternatives. And finally, being able to deliver quality work on time requires good people in your organization. It's becoming increasingly challenging to attract and retain good quality employees. Using the industry-leading tools and practices provides a sense of accomplishment and professional development among employees and helps increase job satisfaction and subsequently employee retention. According to the most recently released federal 2012 budget plan, the plan allocates as much as $128 billion now to transportation entities for road and highway rehabilitation. Also, the California High-Speed Rail Department has allocated as much as $6 billion on a new high-speed rail system that's going to be traveling from Fresno, California down to Bakersfield. Also recently announced, Massachusetts Department of Transportation at their Association of Land Surveyors and Civil Engineers, their new announcement said that they will only now receive Civil 3D file types as electronic submittals. And also, Caltrans has recently announced that they're currently undergoing a major effort to replace their current Casey software for their survey and start implementing Civil 3D. So as you can see, economic pressures are forcing agencies and firms to seek ways to improve the competitive edge, decrease overall overhead, enable clearer communication, and maintain coherency with current technology. Autodesk solutions help address the workflow challenges that have kept many of us from achieving our goals and doing a better, faster, and more cost-effectively. So we've talked about some of the problems and the opportunities for growth potential. In this ever-changing economy, what you want is you need something that can be a one-stop shop, do things faster, more affordably, and more dynamic, so that everything always is accurate and reduce the need for change. So that in a nutshell kind of describes what we're going to be going into today. So what I'd like to do now is I want to jump over to Civil 3D and demonstrate some of these tools. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen it, this is the current Civil 3D 2012. I just have a blank drawing open right now. And what I want to start by doing is demonstrating some of the survey functionality. And this is some of the stuff that Caltrans was real impressed with, which is why they're going to this and leaving some of the old Casey stuff behind. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to process some survey data. Now, the way Civil 3D works is they have an entire survey module that's been incorporated into the software for processing all of your data. You can even plug your survey equipment right into your computer and pull the raw data straight from there, process it, and then output any type of field book file, text file, ASCII file that you need to generate your base maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by bringing in some survey data. So I'm just going to go up to our contextual ribbon up here and say import survey data. And actually, what I'm going to first do is I'm going to create a new drawing from a template. Civil 3D is heavily reliant upon a well-built template. And so us here at Microdesk have quite a few that we've been developing. And so now that I've started one with a good template, I know that I've got my styles and my settings in here ready to be utilized. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring in some survey data. And I need to create a new survey database for this project that I'm going to create. So I'm just going to go ahead and create it right here. And I'll just call it, just demo. And I know because my template, my survey settings and everything are good, so I'll just move on. And you can see in here that we can bring in all different types of data. Civil 3D prefers things like field books or GPS files because they are much more intelligent. They contain more content and give you a lot more flexibility and control of your data as it's being processed. But as you can see, we can also bring in land XML, and then through point files we can bring in text, ASCIIs, anything else. Or if you've received a file, a drawing file itself from survey that may have been subbed out, you can also do points from a drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and select a field book. And I'm just going to bring in this survey 1 file. I'll go next, and I'm going to create a network for this. And again, I'll just call it demo, and you'll see how the network will help us control and manage our content better. I'll go next one more time. When we get to our summary page, which just clarifies the file I'm bringing in, the databases that are being utilized, and some of my default settings. I'm going to go ahead and choose Finish. And what you see now on the screen is it's replicating what was done in the field. It's setting up at each observation point, shooting every side shot, and generating all of the points and line work based on the line work code sets that were used in the field. So we'll give this 1 second to finish processing. Looks like it's just about done. And so now you can see what we have here is an intersection with a couple roads, a cul-de-sac, and some buildings and some parcels. It looks a little bit messy. A lot of people are probably pretty familiar with seeing this sort of thing when they process survey data. One of the great things about Civil 3D is scale is not relevant to us. We can change the scale at the drop of a dime. You can see right down here at the bottom of my screen that I'm currently looking at 100 scale. So if I go ahead and choose this to set it to, say, a 40 scale, everything scales accordingly. It makes it a little bit more manageable. Now the display of these points, they all run off point groups, and those are listed over in our Prospector tab. And if you look over in our point groups, you'll see that we've got a few. All points are contained with every drawing, which houses all the points in the file. And then the no display point group property kind of takes place of the old freezing your layers workflow. And these run off a hierarchy. So if I were to go to my properties and just take my no display and move it to the top, you'll see that it turns off all the points. And then I can just go back, turn them back on, move it to the top, and then I can see all my points again. You'll also notice all the line work that was brought in. These were facilitated through the line work code sets. And on our survey tab, you'll see that we've got options for line work code sets and processing that line work. And you can see everything's been applied to a certain layer, styles, and colors, and line types. You'll also notice that one of the buildings didn't come in quite right. It looks like it kind of went the wrong direction, and probably a typo in the field. So let's show you how quickly and easily we can resolve this. So I'm just going to click on this point, and my contextual ribbon will activate, and you'll see that I've got an option for getting to the survey properties of that point. And this line looks like it was supposed to go to the left, which in Civil 3D is a negative value. So let's just put a negative value on that 36. And then the close call on here was actually supposed to be a CLS, not a CLO. Again, just a typo. So we'll just go ahead and accept that, and we'll press enter. It'll ask us if we'd like to update our line work. We'll say yeah. We'll let it reprocess everything. It'll scan the entire drawing, reprocess all the line work in the event that you've changed multiple entities. And then as soon as it gets done, you'll see that the building has been resolved, and now we have nice clean line work. Going back to our Prospector tab, we can now go to the properties and go No Display to the top, and we have our base map creation heavily expedited. One of the next things we can do is we can go over to our topo point group, and we can tell it, for expedition, I'll just say use all the points. And you can see how it will quickly generate the surface based on all those points. And it's a little bit messy, but that's very simple to clean up as well. I can go over to the definition, and I can put a controlling factor on how long these triangles have the ability to grow to. So we'll say nothing over, say, 200 feet, and we'll let that rebuild. We'll say yeah. And you see it removes a lot of that extraneous line work. And then editing and cleaning this up is just as simple as selecting it. Again, I just select on it. My contextual ribbon activates and gives me all the tools I need to work with the surface. And I can simply choose to edit and delete a little bit of line work. And everything gets cleaned up and resolved. I can then choose to change my surface style. And maybe I want to show it as 2-foot contours. I'll apply that. And you can see that it turns off the triangulation, gives you that surface. Contours are just a display style. If I wanted to, I could go to 1-foot contours, and I can get those as well. And then if I wanted to, I could even go to maybe surface banding to see the elevational differences. So very simple and easy to work with. And you can see how fast and efficient it is to process that data using Civil 3D. The nice thing is that it is dynamic, and it is saved to a survey database, which is external from the software, so it is protected in the event that you don't accidentally change field data. So that's just kind of a quick introduction on how some of the survey functionality works. What I'd like to do next is, sometimes we don't always have the survey data when we begin a project. Sometimes we're proposing on a project, or we're trying to obtain information about a project prior to sending the survey crews out there. And so sometimes we need to get some preliminary information up on the screen. And so what I'm going to do now is, let me just close this file out. And I'm not going to bother saving changes. And so from a blank drawing, one of the great things about Civil 3D is it's written on top of Map 3D, which is a complete GIS solution. So if you have any kind of Esri data, ortho images, whatever you may have, those can all be connected to and used for your base map creation. And so what I'm going to do is, as long as you go to your drawing and you establish a coordinate system, it makes it very easy to connect to that data and have things apply to the correct place. So one of the nice things about the newer versions of Civil 3D is it's fully integrated into Google. Google Earth is available in here, and so you can bring in imagery, surfaces, both, or create AutoCAD meshes from it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch on over to my Google Earth, and I'm just going to pick a point that I've selected. And I just picked an arbitrary location, a freeway, and perhaps the client that you're working with has asked you to put a ramp in here, and we want to tie this road in. We want to put an on-ramp onto the highway. And so this can be done very easily through Civil 3D. Now the great thing is, as I said, these things are interchangeable. So within your Civil 3D, if you just go in and tell it to import an image and a surface, for example, it will go through and it will capture wherever you're zoomed to on your Google Earth. And it will generate 5,000 grid points to generate a DTM for you and drape the image as well. So as you can imagine, the tighter you zoom in, the more accurate the surface is for you. But again, you need to remember that this is for planning and preliminary purposes. So what we can do is once you do choose that option and process it, you'll see that it quickly brings in surface and a photo, and it's very good for planning and analysis purposes prior to actually getting out there and spending any money on the project. Because if you can go into a proposal with hard data and hard information and an analytical intent on the project, you're going to definitely have a clear advantage over your competitors who have just maybe walked in with a piece of paper with a number on it. So you can see we've already gotten surface data, we've already got a surface tin, and we've got the photo as well. And it's also very simple and easy to turn this thing in and drape the image right on top of the tin, which is also good for marketing material. So I'm going to take it back to my top view. So this would be step one, and you can see it comes in very quickly. No time and money is spent at this point in time, but it's the basis for beginning your design. One of the next things you would do is you'd come in and you'd start modeling corridors on each of these highways and this roadway. So in an effort for time, I've gone through and modeled a few of these. So I'll flip over to another one. And you can see now that we've got some modeled of some corridors here. And if I go ahead and turn this, you'll see that, and this was very quick and easy to do. You can see that we have models of those freeways, those side roads, and they've been interlaced into that DTM that we were able to pull out of Google Earth. So we've already got a conceptual model, and now we can start developing our proposed plan. So let me go back and reset to a top view. So let's start looking at how we can utilize some of these Civil 3D tools to come up with the best concept. And one of the great things is that we do have design criteria built into here, so that anybody who's done a number of civil engineering plans knows that there's a lot of time spent on making sure your design complies with local and AASHTO standards. And you know, if you don't check it through the standard books, I guarantee your plan checker will find it, and that ends up being a lot of redesigns and design changes, which is costly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by creating an alignment, and yeah, I'll just call it ramp. It'll be a centerline alignment, and I'll start at station 10. And you'll notice I've got this tab over here that's available to me called Design Criteria. So I'm going to switch over to here. And from here, I can now set the speed limit for this road, and I can specify the criteria that I'm going to be using. So if I say yes, I'd like to use a criteria, you'll see that the AASHTO criteria is already preloaded with the software. This is nothing that I've done prior to this demonstration. It's available to all of you. You do have the ability to create local criteria, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment as well. So I'll just go ahead and say, because this is a ramp, I'll just go, maximum 12%. That works for me. I'll say OK. And then I get my alignment creation tools. And I'll just tell it I'd like to create some tangents with some curves. And I've got a little tick mark where I've decided I'd like to tie into this road. So now I can just come off and say, maybe I want to go there, and I want to come around, and I want it to tie in, I don't know, somewhere about station 17. So quickly and easily, it's generated that alignment. You'll also notice, if I zoom in, it's got a mark on it. It says, hey, there's a problem here. And this is what's going to save you a lot of redesign time in the future. So what we can do is we can look at the grid view for this alignment, and you'll see that there is a problem with the radius. And you'll also notice that it's even proposing a new proposed radius. And so if I go to the subedge data and select that, you'll see that it activates that curve, and it tells me all of the things that aren't compliant with the local agency standards. So what I can do is I can change my curve radius to something greater than 1,005. But being that my ramp is so short, that's probably not going to work. So what I can also do is say, well, maybe I need to slow down this road. Maybe 60 miles an hour on a ramp is much too fast. So I can go in and say, maybe I want to go at 25 miles an hour, just a small on-ramp. I'll update that. And you'll notice how everything is updated based on the AASHTO standards. So now it's saying all I need is something over 145. So if I go in and say, how about a 150-foot radius curve on there, it's now resolved that, and now my alignment complies with local standards. So very quickly and easily, you'll be able to identify things that aren't going to work with your design and then move forward. Also, you'll notice when I do click on that alignment, I've got an option up here, and I can also access it from my settings tab for design criteria editor. Inside here, I can create all of the local standards. So if you are working in the city of Los Angeles or the city of Orlando or the city of Houston, you have the ability to go in and add local standards in the event that they're not putting their designs implemented per AASHTO standards. It's very simple to go in and say, for my alignments, what are my minimum radius tables going to be? I can just go up and choose to create a new one and then populate my speeds and the minimum radii for those. I also have the options for my vertical curves, and with my vertical design, I can control stopping distance, passing sight distance, and headlight distance as well. You can save these local to your machine or on your network so that everybody can access them, and then use those every time you happen to design for that agency. So I'm just going to go ahead and come out of there. So you can see now my alignment does comply. So I know that this geometry, and I can choose to alter it if I like, but at least I know what's there now works, and I'm in good shape for that. So now that I've created that, it's very simple to select that and tell it to create a surface profile for me. And so I'll tell it to go in and sample the topography and also have it sample that highway that it's connecting to. And I'll tell it to draw me a profile. I'll just set it off over here. And I actually drove this highway yesterday and noticed that I chose a very mountainous terrain. So we're actually going to put this road in, this little ramp in, as a tunnel way. So it's going to go through the hillside, come back out, and tie into the highway. So again, if I just quickly select this grid view, I can go and use my profile creation tools and call it proposed ramp. And again, you'll see that I have an option for controlling design criteria as well. So I can say, yes, use a design criteria. I'll just use the AASHTO. And again, I can quickly go in. I can say draw with curves. I'll snap to the center line of that road. And now I can quickly just go in and come up with some kind of a concept. So very simple and easy. Obviously, my curve is going to be very small because I didn't set any curve settings. But again, if I look at my grid view, I can see what issues I may have with my design vertically. And you can see there's a K value issue. So again, I would just go through those same steps to increase those curves or maybe reduce the speed of those roads or maybe adjust the slope of the roads as well. So in an effort for time, we'll just leave it the way it is for right now. And now you've got your horizontal layout, and you've come up with a vertical concept. And you can see the annotation is automatic and dynamic. So if I do happen to come in and make design changes, it's very fast and easy, and the annotation automatically updates itself and is always correct. So now that I've got that, one of the next things you want to do is you want to create a cross-section of what that ramp's going to look like. And so we've got our plan view, we've got our vertical design, and so you create these little cross-sections, and they're very fast and easy to make. They work like little Legos. You just create a little marker and snap on a lane and snap on a curb and maybe add some grading and such. I've done it again just to expedite some time. So what I'm going to do now is let's go ahead and build an intersection right here to tie this in. So I'm going to go up to my intersection tools, and I'm going to say create an intersection right over here. And I'll go there. I'll check my offset parameters, adjust my lanes. I believe this one is 22 feet wide. And the ramp is only 10 feet wide, it's just a little single lane one way. So we'll just go 10 feet. We'll say OK. We'll go next. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and choose the curb returns, that section that we'd like to use. The existing 395 that we're currently using. And for the secondary full, being that it's just a ramp, we're not having a bunch of grading and stuff, we will just use the ramp full. Very quick and easy to create. I'll just go ahead and say create an intersection now. And you can see how it quickly samples and models that, ties this road into the other roads. And I can grab this label here and kind of move it out of the way. Oh, I missed. Let's try it again. And just pull that out of the way. And so now we've got this new intersection that's tying in this ramp. And so it's very simple to grab this new intersection that's been generated. I can grab the grip and just kind of pull it around my ramp alignment to a potential point, and it quickly generates the ramp for me in a 3D model. So if I take this and turn it around and take a look at it, you'll see that it looked at the vertical design on the profile that I just kind of quickly slapped in and created a 3D model of that ramp. So very fast and easy. Oh, it's getting away from me. There it is. So you can see how that's cutting in, going under the road, and I've got my little model there now. Pretty neat, huh? Fast and easy. We'll go back and reset my view. So you would go through that same effort now to create another intersection where the ramp ties into the highway. And it's the same workflow. All you need is a cross-section of the highway, a cross-section of the ramp, and again, it would do that as well. So again, just to, in an effort to expedite some time, I went through and modeled that up for you real quick. And now you can see what that would look like. So now what we can do is we can turn this one around and show you the finished concept. So we can see that if we like it or if there's problems with it, or whatever the changes may be. There we are. You can see I've got a retaining wall along the side over there. And I've got my ramp in there. Very quick and easy to make these models up. And now you can conceptualize them. You can do earthwork calculations. You can calculate your materials with them, or whatever have you. So now that we've come up with our concept, what we can do is let's generate some cross sections for that ramp, so we can take a look at what it's looking like in a section view. So we'll go ahead and go through, just kind of go through the wizard real quick. We'll accept a lot of the default values. Everything looks pretty good. We'll just pick an arbitrary point out of the way. Give it a second to let those generate. And you can see now that those cross-sections have been generated. So one of the next things I want to do is I'm going to select this alignment. And you'll notice I have an option here for superelevation, how to calculate that superelevation. So I'm going to go ahead and say calculate superelevation for this rampway. And it's going to say, would you like to calculate now? Yes. And I'm going to tell it what calculation I'm going to do. It's going to be an undivided planar road. And I'll just kind of run through the wizard. And since it's only 10 foot wide, I'll do 5 foot lanes, 2% typical crossfall, no shoulder. And I'm going to use the AASHTO 4%, which works for me. I'll say OK. And then what it's going to do is it's going to calculate where I'm going to need a superelevation as I go around each of these curves and calculate the best, smoothest crossfall slope for the superelevation for that road. So you can see now how fast and easy it generated those. And for anybody who's ever calculated these before, you know what a chore and an effort this happens to be. So you can see It's kind of varying from 2% to 4%. Pretty smooth, looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and accept those values. And now what I can do is I can go back to my super elevation, and I can tell it to generate my super elevation view for me. It's going to be for the ramp. I'll say OK. And again, I'll just pick an arbitrary point out of the way. And again, I know from experience what a chore these can be to generate these super elevation diagrams. Nice thing about these is if you click on them, you get these grips. And from here, if you're not happy with the results, you can change it on the tabular view, or you can simply slide these stations to whatever increments you like, or adjust these elevations so that you get the transitions you're happy with. And it will automatically update your model because it is a model-based design. So now, if we come over to our cross-sections, you'll see that the super elevation has now been calculated and added into that roadway. And then finally, and I know we're running out of time a little bit here, what we can do is we can visualize our design. Now that we've selected this, we can say, I want to see what this road is going to look like. So I'm going to choose to drive on it based on the proposed design that I came up with. I'm just going to use a quick wireframe view just so we can kind of see what the concept's going to look like. So it's going to go ahead and process and generate a 3D model of us beginning at the intersection of the road. And so you can see that the highway's crossing, and since it's a 10-foot wide road, I'll just say 5 foot on each side. And then I'll tell it I'd like to drive down this road. And now I can see where I'm going to go under the highway, how my ramp is going to look and feel as I'm driving on it, and then how it's going to tie into the main freeway and merge on. So I get a good visual analysis of my site. So I can see graded side areas, potential obstacles, and things I may want to change that normally would be found in the field during construction time, which would cause redesigns. So very simple and easy. I hope this gave you some insight on some potential things that can be done with Civil 3D, things that are very powerful for those of you who are currently using it, maybe things you haven't thought of to use. But as you can see, these corridors are very flexible, very dynamic, and they can control your standards, they can calculate your super elevations, and then they can merge onto existing data as well. That's not it. There we go. So let's quickly talk about a few of the other tools in the Autodesk arsenal that can help with your workflow to make life easier. As I said before, Civil 3D is written on Map 3D, which is a complete GIS solution. It is underlaid with your Civil. It's also available as a standalone, and it is available in your infrastructure design suite. And for those of you who aren't familiar with those design suites, it's a new thing that's come out for 2012, kind of bundling several applications into one single license, one single price for easy convenience and access to multiple technologies to complete your workflow in a model-based environment. Also, in the premium and ultimate versions, we have 3D Max Design. Again, for those civils out there, you do not need to be a 3D Max aficionado to run this. They've built a new tool called Civil View, and the Civil View accepts your Civil 3D model, imports it in, and then has a lot of automated tools and wizards that will help you quickly generate pavement striping, opposing traffic, street furniture, and what have you, so that you can quickly generate very high quality marketing material or just printouts that you can take to your client and say, this is what I'm proposing. And you can even generate animations that's similar to the drive one we just saw. That would be fully rendered with grass and pavement, concrete, and what have you, so that they can see what the final design is going to be like in the future. And then also one of the things I'd like to mention is the newest addition to the Autodesk arsenal. This is called the new Infrastructure Modeler. This is a great new tool, and it's a way to quickly conceptualize how to model different scenarios, different options. You can take your existing data, your existing map data, your existing civil data, bring it in and build a model, and then you can quickly sketch in roads, water, lakes, buildings, and with the drag and drop technology, you can apply different facades to different options, and they're very simple and easy to work with and manage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a quick little overview of what Infrastructure Modeler looks like and what it does. So here you can see the Infrastructure Modeler and all the different ways that you can bring in data. You got models and map data and things like that. And then we've got our base layer management tool, which it kind of works like your layers, like you're working with now. So you can create these different concepts. Maybe you're going to create a roadway. It's very simple to toggle on. You can create 1 or 2 or 3 different options for roads. And then it's real simple to create themes for all the data you bring in. Say you're bringing in analytical land data from Map3D. You can generate color schemes and things. And then you can just click and drop anywhere, wherever you'd like that road to be. And then once you double-click at the end, it'll tie it into existing infrastructure. And then you'll notice when you select it that it's now tied it in. If there's hillsides that you've gone through, it'll put grading in there. And then you can use the vertices to raise and lower the roads and adjust it however you like, and then run visualizations to see what these concepts are going to look like. This is great for brainstorming and conceptualizing what your proposed design is going to be. And as you can see, with a couple clicks, it's very easy to push and pull these things. We can also turn that option off and come up with a second option. Now, if you don't click and put vertices on the top of hillsides or in water, it will automatically put tunnels in and put bridges in because it knows that it's going from one end to the other. So it's very fast and easy to generate these types of models and options. And then because it's using the FDO technology, once you come up with these concepts, you can quickly bring them back into your Map3D or your Civil 3D and start using these as your base map content for generating your design concepts. So it's very comfortable into the environment we're used to seeing. So great new tool. I definitely advise everybody to look into this. And you'll see now that we can play with the drag and drop options to quickly come up with different concepts for different roads. We can go from single lane roads to double lane roads, all through drag and drop functionality. Same thing with buildings and water features. And anytime you click on them, it'll automatically tie into whatever existing structures that may be there. And so you can see now we can quickly grab a different road section and apply that, and just play with different concepts. So it makes it really easy to work with these types of things. So in summary, we've seen some of the trends that are going on in the industry right now. We looked at Civil 3D. We demonstrated some of the survey functionality and some of the base map creation tools. We talked about some of the design standards that are available to you for controlling your design criteria. And we looked at some of the super elevation tools and then some of the corridor tools for generating 3D roadways and intersection and highway interchanges, as well as we concluded with a little bit of the what's new, with some of the other tools that are available to you. So definitely get out there and experience some of these things. Many of these products, in fact, I think most all of these products, if you haven't had exposure to them, are available on Autodesk's website for a free trial download. You can check them out. You can also talk to your reseller, and they can let you know what's available to you and the different options that are available as well. Also, the website you see up on the screen is another great resource for a website that Autodesk has developed dedicated to road and highways. So definitely check that out. I'm now going to pass it back over to Ravali and see if she's gotten any questions.
It doesn't look like there's any questions here. We have a quiet audience today. But I want to thank you, Mario, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. That was a great presentation. We hope you found this helpful and educational. If you'd like more information about what you saw today, you can email us at webinars@microdesk.com. That's webinars with an S at microdesk.com. And you can see on the screen there we have our next webinar on November 3rd. So if you know somebody that missed it today or missed the last two, please let them know that we have one on November 3rd. We also have these free live workshops that are coming up in a city near you. So check that out on our website as well. You can register everything at microdesk.com under events, or you can reach us at marketing@microdesk.com or the webinars that I mentioned.